Hello everyone, today I thought we'd take a look at something that I received another email about, which is client-side filtering in Rails 7. Now every time I get an email about this, I usually see an over-engineered solution, or I see something that is using some outdated practices from like Rails 6 land. Now unfortunately the over-engineered solution sometimes is a necessity. It's always easy to have a completely green application and say, here's how you should do things. But if you actually have real world experience, you know that's very, very rarely the case where that's acceptable. Now, the other part where we have over-engineered solutions that aren't necessarily Rails 7 centric, we can sort of address those a little bit. So if you're using like a JS.ERB file and you're using Rails 7, this might be a newer solution for you. Now we've covered stimulus on the channel before. It's just a way to bind some JavaScript to a page in a specific location. We use it all the time now. It's just a great way to sort of have some JavaScript thrown onto the page. Some of the things I don't necessarily agree with from a design perspective, but I'm not here to push my dogma on you. That's sort of what Rails does, which is kind of cringe in and of itself. But effectively what it does is it gives you the ability to open up your HTML file or your source. You can come in here and you can see where the stimulus controllers are being used. So we can see right here, if I zoom in a little bit, we have this table data-controller equals search. So I can see right here from the outset that this is bound to this entire table on this page. So wherever this table is right here, I can see that this is where the stimulus controller is taking effect. So that's a really nice side effect of having this JavaScript in here is we don't have a script at the bottom. We can just very quickly, that was weird, my whole screen just went black. We can just very quickly see where the JavaScript's being used just with how that works. So if you are looking for something that's not client-side only like this one, so in this case, if I type like laborum, you can see that this is filtering by the client, but down here in the terminal, it's not doing any sort of server-side searches. Bit of a tongue twister. If you are looking for that server-side solution, we've covered that a few times on the channel before. This is just one of those videos that's like real-time autocomplete suggestions and a couple other solutions. They all use stimulus to some effect, but you're going to need to use some Ruby magic on the back end if you want this to pull from the database and display like the most recent 10. In this case, it's just a way if you have a client-side list of data that you want to enable filtering on, where you can very quickly do that. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. It shouldn't take too long. We're going to CD out of here, create a new Rails app. We'll say Rails new video, and we'll do a, we'll say CD into video, and we'll do a code dot to open this up in VS Code. So again, we've covered stimulus before, but I still get these emails from people that are trying to use JS.ERB files, which is an unfortunate consequence of Rails changing its mind every major release. So hopefully, if I keep talking about this and I keep making content about it, someone will eventually see this. But effectively what stimulus allows you to do is, well, a couple things. The first is we can generate a scaffold. We'll say Rails G scaffold post for a title and some content of type text. But what stimulus allows you to do is just like how you would do a Rails G controller, you can also do a Rails G stimulus to generate a stimulus controller, which is going to be a client-side controller, or it's going to be a JavaScript controller as opposed to the Ruby controller we usually generate. You can then call this whatever we would like. I'm going to call this search. That'll give us an app JavaScript controllers directory, which is by default included in Rails, and a search controller.js. So this search controller.js, if we come over here and open it up in app JavaScript controllers, we can see in this index file that we are importing from application, doing a little bit of eager loading, and that's all being handled inside of, I believe, this application right here. So in this application.js, it's importing the controller. So this is your overall application.js. And then you have your controllers application.js, which again, not a fan of the naming scheme, but what can you do? This is setting up the hot-wired stimulus where it creates the application and it sets up the application for access in your window. So like over here, I can come over to the console and run a capital S stimulus, and I can access it from in here, which is always nice to be able to do for debugging purposes, right? But the other thing we can do is we can come in here to the search controller, and we can see here it's also importing controller. This is automatically included now. We just have to tell it where it needs to be included. So just to test, we're going to do a console.log. and we'll just console.log a hello stimulus command so we can hopefully see it in the console when we start our server. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a, well, I guess not a Rails S yet. Let's come over to our Explorer. Let's come down to our DB and our seeds file. What I want to do real quick is just create a quick little seed that we can use for some fake data. So I'm going to paste this in. It's just a quick little post.create where we have a title, where we use the faker gem, which we'll have to add, and then we add some content as well. So we'll have some words for the title and a sentence count for the paragraph. To use this, we'll save this and then come over to our gem file. In our gem file, ideally under development and test, or just down at the bottom, wherever you would like, you can just create a gem for faker. And then you can come over to your terminal, run a bundle command to install that. And then you can run a, oops, not a Rails S, you can run a Rails DB migrate and a Rails DB seed command to seed the database with those 50 entries. We can now run a Rails S and come over to localhost port 3000. Takes us to the default page for Rails, but we can come over to our config and our routes.rb, and in here what we can do is run a route for the post controller index action. Basic Rails stuff right there. We can then refresh the page. Takes us here where we can see all of these posts. But if we open up our console with Control-Shift-I, you can see it's not console logging out that hello stimulus. To actually console log this and get it to work, what we have to do is come into our app views. And you can either do this in your layouts if you want it to affect the whole application. You just bind it to like your body, or you can come down to the posts and the index section. Inside of this index is where we'll do the bulk of our work. Effectively, what we want to do is declare an area of this where we can access the stimulus controller. So what we'll do is we'll just get rid of the post for now, and we'll just put in a table, and then we'll go ahead and close this table. You can see here it has this data-controller equals search. This is just the data-controller for attaching a stimulus controller, and then the name of that controller, which omits the underscore controller.js part. Just like when you reference a Rails controller, you don't necessarily reference the posts underscore controller.rb. You just call it the post controller, right? So you just use the post keyword. Similar thing happening here. Now, if we save this, we'll be able to come over here and refresh, and we can now see hello stimulus, and we can see the element it's being bound to because we're using this .element in the console log. So now we can see exactly which element this is being bound to. And if we come over here, hopefully we can see, if I move this around, that the div of ID of posts has a table that has a data-controller equal to search. So there we can see that's being bound correctly. Now let's come over here and let's take a look at how we can sort of use this to our advantage. Now, what we want to do is come over to our index, and in our table here, we want to set up a little bit of boilerplate. So what we want to do is create a t-head, a tr, and a th, and we'll just go ahead and we'll close these tags as well. So we'll close the tr, we'll close two of the ths with the title and the content. And this first th right here, which is the table header, we want to add in a input field, which is where we'll do the actual searching. So we'll just come in here, do an input field, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll close this, right? Something like that. So we can save that, come over here and refresh. We now have this search bar. It's pretty cool. And I'm going to move this new post link up to the top right here, just to sort of clean this up a little bit. So now we have this. We want to come down to below the t head, which we need to actually close. So we'll do a /t head. So below this t head, we want to do a t body. We'll go ahead and close the t body. And in here, we just want to do what we were doing before with the @posts. So we'll say @post.each do. And then at the bottom here, we can do a end for that. We'll go ahead and save this just so the formatter cleans it up. Now we need our TRs. And for this, we'll just do a quick little TR with a TD, and then we'll close the TR right here. We can go ahead and refresh. Now, what I'd like to do is inside of here, I want to add in the post title. So we'll do that right here. And then we'll just copy this and we'll paste it down here, and we'll change this to the post content for the second item here. We can go ahead and refresh. And unfortunately, this causes it to look a little bit off just because of my poor excuse for like styling. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in an extra little empty TD to move everything over so that it's a bit easier to see what we're doing. So now our search is in the left with an empty column below it. Again, you do better than I do. There's no CSS involved here. It's just basic formatting. So now we can hit Control-Shift-I. It shows us hello stimulus. That's cool. But if I type in here, it's not filtering anything. So to actually add the filter options, we have to do a couple things. We're going to come into our search controller and we need to tell it what our targets are going to be. This is effectively sort of like a document.getElementById, but it is scoped to the data that is inside of the controller. So if I have an item down here at like line 26, I won't be able to access it without using like the concept of an outlet and accessing another controller, which can be a whole thing. Sort of where I have some issues with stimulus, but you know, it's a trade-off, necessary evil, I suppose. Well, what we can do is we can create a list of targets, and we already know we're going to be using title and content here. So we'll just say this has a static set of targets, which is equal to title and content. So this alone won't give us access to them. We actually have to come over to our index, and we have to tell it which of these is the title and the content target. So we come down here where we have this post.title. Inside of this TD, we just want to add a data-search-target equals and then the name of the target. So our target is named title, and our data-search is data-controller name-target is sort of going to be your format there. So we just take this first part of the controller name, put it in the middle of the kebab case, and we're good to go. We're going to do the exact same thing for the content. So we'll come in here, paste this in, and that gives us the content. Now it's important to note this is targets plural because we're going to have multiple of these, 50 I believe. Sometimes you might not have a list of targets, you might just have a single target. It's going to change sort of how your keywords work a little bit. There's of course documentation on the web if that's something you're interested in looking into. My screen just went black again, that was really weird. Hopefully the video doesn't suffer from this, but what we're going to do now is create the filtering logic. So to do the actual filtering, we just have to create a quick little JavaScript method below the connect. We'll call it filter post. It'll take in a event. We then tell it, all right, for the search terms, we want to grab the event.target.value.to lowercase. So we're just going to lowercase this, make it a bit easier to filter. We can then say for each of the title targets, and this is where the syntax changes depending on if it's plural or not. Sometimes you might just have a singular title target. In this case, we have a title targets. It's just important to note that that is a differentiating factor sometimes. Then we're going to hit F11 because this is a bit of a longer line. We're going to say the post content is equal to title.nextElementSibling.textContent.to lowercase. So this is just the part where we check for the post content and the post title. Just a little bit of JavaScript there. We then say, all right, if either the post content includes the search term, which has been too lowercased, or the post title includes the search term, we want to set the display on these to be equal to none. Then we can say else it didn't contain the search terms, so this isn't something we should be showing, so then set the display to none. And this is effectively all we have to do inside of this JavaScript. We just have to come over to our index real quick. And in our index, we have to tell it where are we actually using this filter post method. So if we come over here and refresh, type, nothing happens because this search bar doesn't have the method bound to it yet. So to do that, we can just come down here and say data-action. This one doesn't need a controller name because of how the syntax works. You can do a input. So on input with an arrow, this is now the name of the controller, which is search, the search controller, and the filter posts action. Just like you would expect with Rails if you were doing like your routes or whatever. Like over here, we have the post controller index action. Here we have the search controller filter posts action. We do that, we come over here and we refresh, we search for EST, and you can see it's already starting to filter on the side. We can search for consecutor and see how many results we get with that. Surprisingly a lot. Let's maybe try one that's a little bit more niche. There we go. So that gives us 2 results, and you can now see this is working just like you would expect without having to hit the database at all. And it's just a neat little way to do some filtering that works for the client side only. This is, again, something we've covered before quite a few times, but I still see these solutions that use the JS.ERB files, which is unfortunate because we have like 6 versions of Rails now that had that solution, and there's just a bit of a cleaner way out of the box that works. But of course, you know, it's just the consequence of tools evolving over time. So I guess just be aware that stimulus is an option. It does make your life easier, and that JS.ERB is not supported. So if you do try to use a JS.ERB solution for this, where you do like some kind of embedded JavaScript on a separate page that relates to the same name as like whatever your page name is, so you'd have like a index.js.erb, that's, I don't think, gonna work anymore. So if you run into solutions that don't work like that, it just went black again, just be aware that you can pretty much just grab whatever's in the JS.ERB file, put it in a stimulus controller, and then just make sure to connect the controller in a broad enough div so that it encompasses everything it needs to touch. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully this is helpful. At least now I have something to reply to some of these emails with, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.